players are sitting out today with injuries, including senior safety C.J. Barnett, who's out with a sprained ankle. Depth and experience, certainly an issue, especially on defense. With Bradley Roby suspended and now Barnett out, there are 9 new starters on defense for the Buckeyes.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, the guys that are out, whether it's due to injury or suspension, obviously more on that throughout the course of the day, but there's a lot of talent on that side. And whether or not they can get through these first game jitters, a big part of the story. It's the first kickoff of the first Saturday of the season. And the Bulls will take it out of the touchback. Joe Licata is the sophomore out of Williamsville, New York. He was the starter late in the year. In fact, went 3-1 in their last 4 games. And that momentum, Joey, they think will carry over into this year.
Absolutely. And they like Joe Licata. They believe he gets the ball out quicker. He makes the right decision. It's going to be key for him to take care of the ball today. Do not put their team in a bad situation, because the best thing they can do is keep Ohio State and Braxton Miller's offense off the field today.
He's got a terrific running back behind him as well, and Brandon Bo Oliver, the 5th-year senior out of Miami. They expect to get a lot of touches for him today. And for the folks here at Ohio Stadium, the first look at a lot of the baby Buckeyes defensively. As Paul just reported, 9 new starters on this side of the ball this afternoon. And Licata will run this hurry-up, no-huddle offense, and his first toss is to his favorite receiver, Alex Newts, in a 10-yard pickup. The impact performers, well, we mentioned Oliver, and he'll be going toe-to-toe with Ryan Shazier.
You look at Brandon Oliver, 18 career TDs for running back for Buffalo. He better be familiar with Ryan Shazier, the big play linebacker for Ohio State.
Oliver is the lone setback. Newts to the boundary side. He is the target again. So a couple of safe plays, Licata to Newts early on to get them through these early jitters. Duran Grant, one of the new starters with the tackle.
I love this start for Licata. Terrific play calling by Buffalo and Coach Quinn. 2 easy throws, 5-yard throws. Get his confidence right. He's playing in front of 100,000 people on TV. Let him get 2 completions to get him into the flow of the game.
2nd and 3. Newts had over 1,000 yards receiving last year, and they'll try the reverse. Fred Lee wrapped up around the 44-yard line, and that's one of the new guys up front, Adolphus Washington, the sophomore out of Cincinnati.
Little trickery here. You got a young defensive line for Ohio State. Let's see if we can get him in the wrong direction. Adolphus Washington, number 92, makes a nice play, stays at home, and stops it for a short gain. Now we set up a 3rd and 1. It would be interesting here to see Bo Oliver get this ball. Direct
snap. They'll show the Wildcat. Oliver is out there, and now a timeout called by Ohio State.
Timeout. Ohio State. Teams first.
Perhaps Urban Meyer catching the Wildcat formation. We'll take the quick timeout as well early here in Columbus. The PGA Tour coming back to a 3rd down situation, and they showed the Wildcat before the timeout, and they will stay in that formation. The direct snap to Bo Oliver, and he is bottled up at the 45. It looks like the push forward, and the spot will give him enough.
And that's just a nice push by Bo Oliver. He made the play himself. Goes off the left side. There's nothing there. Bo Oliver, I saw him before the game. He is a ton. He's a bowling ball. He's short to the ground. He is stout, big, strong legs. You can see, does not stop on first contact, pushes forward for a 2-yard first down.
Had the best season a running back has ever had at Buffalo 2 years ago, and then last season injury plagued. Bulls would love to have him around an entire season. The quick out again, a nice route to the sideline. And a gain of 8, and Joey coming in, they knew there were 2 new cornerbacks out there today, and they're staying outside the hashes.
Absolutely, and these corners are playing soft, and Buffalo sees that. And again, these are easy throws for Licata. This is his 5th game starting for Buffalo. Get him some easy throws, move the chain, set up 2nd and short, which are easier calls.
Showing blitz off the edge. Oliver gets inside the 45. If he gets the 44, he's got the first down. Looks like he'll be just a bit shy. Joel Hale in the middle making the tackle. It is a brand new front four for Ohio State with the sophomore Spence and Washington outside and the upperclassmen Hale and Bennett inside. Oliver running right, and he will come up short. Well, Joey, they chose to run to the right side, which is where their two new guys are up front. The veterans are on the left side.
Interesting call. And I like the run play on third down, third and short, but I would expect them to go left, where to me their best offensive lineman is guard Jason Carlson. They went away from it, didn't work. It looks like they're going to stay on the field and try to get an early huge play here on this fourth down.
4th and 2. Alex Newts to the top of your screen, and now this time it's Buffalo spending one of their 3 timeouts.
Buffalo.
And we will go away as well as Buffalo ponders a big 4th down decision.
It appears they're gone. I don't think I would go for this in this situation. It's too early in the game. If you get stopped, Ohio State gets the ball on the 45, I would be worried about that first.
4th and 2 from the Buckeye 46.
Delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
So they do not get the snap off, and obviously head coach Jeff Quinn a little surprised about that.
That's a huge mistake. Whether there was a miscommunication between the officials and Coach Quinn in Buffalo, huge mistake. Even if you did not plan to snap the ball, now you've taken away your ability to try to draw a young defensive line off sides on offense. They didn't even get into their snap count. You know, a lot of offenses come out, try to draw them offside and get a cheap first down. They didn't even get a chance to do that because the clock ran out.
So now the punt unit is on. Tyler Grassman had a penalty marker down. Corey Brown is the deep man, and a false start here.
False start, offense number 30. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
And that's a little bit of the jitters that come in your first game. That's what we're seeing on this 4th and 1. The 2 straight penalties after a timeout. That's just jitters.
Grassman, and a little dicey on the first kick of the day, the first kick of the season for the youngster from right here in Columbus, and that will set the Buckeyes up in good shape. As we bring out Braxton Miller in his 3rd year as the starter, the first Buckeye quarterback to rush for over 1,000 yards, and he set a new school record for total yards of offense as well.
We know what kind of athlete Braxton Miller is. Everyone in this stadium, all 106,000 people here know he's an athlete. Now we want to see, can he throw the ball? They talked about going 50-50 run pass. Today will be the first chance for us to get a look at if he's improved throwing the ball.
Jordan Hall offset as the starter, the 8th start for him in his career, and Hall gets the call and bullying his way outside the 40. They'll spot him at the 42. Christian Sicoli with the stop. How about the impact players, Mewhort and Mack?
Maybe one of the best matchups we'll see all year. Left tackle Jack Mewhort, 25 straight starts for Ohio State, and the leader of the offensive line versus Khalil Mack, the linebacker, the big play guy for his Buffalo defense.
Miller gives to Hall again, and he's got space up the middle across midfield. And a first down, Ohio State, a pickup of 9. And already, Joey, we see what Urban Meyer wants to be a much quicker tempo this year. Hall for the 3rd time in a row. And a pickup of a couple. Adam Redden with the stop. Hall is the 5th-year senior out of Jeanette, Pennsylvania, who was given the opportunity due to the suspensions of Carlos Hyde and Rod Smith today.
And that's what I was going to touch on. How about the depth of the Ohio State running backs. 2 guys suspended. Bring in Jordan Hall, a guy that has over 1,000 yards rushing. Not many teams in the country can do that.
Hall stays behind Miller. Smith goes to the top of the screen. Braxton Miller looking deep down the middle. Got a man out in the end zone. Caught for the touchdown. Devin Smith, 47 yards. He was the deep threat last year, and the deep ball to Devin again. Interesting alignment here for Ohio State. The snap to Kenny Guyton. He's going to keep it and run for it. And Guyton reaching into the end zone gets the 2-point conversion. Lining up right next to the kicker, Drew Basil.
How about the start by Ohio State? Go deep early. We thought after the first down they would take a shot. They'd do that and then go for 2.
Well, Joey, let's start out with the touchdown, 47-yard strike.
And this is a game plan call. After the first down, let's take a shot. Buffalo plays a defense where their safety is a little wider than the hash, wider than most. Now he has 2 guys to cover deep. Devin Smith, too much speed outside, too athletic. That's too easy. If Buffalo's going to stay in this game, they better change that coverage.
And now the conversion with Kenny Guyton, the backup quarterback, in there to receive it.
You always see teams line up in these weird extra point formations, and you could tell they were thinking, let's actually snap this and run it. Kenny Guyton, very talented backup quarterback, also athletic, can make a play with his feet, ran through a tackle.
Well, the hot start for the Ohio State Buckeyes, running Jordan Hall up the middle to pound away, and now the deep ball to Devin Smith and the 2-point conversion. We want to check to see if Kenny Guyton had his knee down before he breaks the plane. And that certainly looks to be good. 2 points for the Buckeyes. You could sense it yesterday, Joey, in the meetings with the offensive coaches, how much more at ease they are this year in year 2, knowing that their guys are so much more familiar with the offense.
Absolutely, and you can tell from that play call to go deep this early in the game, that says we're relaxed. We have things under control. We feel much better coming to our second go-round. Braxton Miller's much more confident. Let's take a shot, and it worked out well.
Devin Campbell on the return gets out to about the 17-yard line, where the Bulls will take over. And then Licata set to go back to work.
This is an important drive early for Buffalo. They cannot let this game get away early. It already feels kind of bad. 2 penalties to end the last drive. They punt it away, kick it out of bounds, bad punt. Good field position for Ohio State. They run the ball 3 times, get a first down, and then take the big shot and get a touchdown, and then add 2. You're down 8-0. Early on, if you're Buffalo, offensively, you've got to settle down, get a nice drive. You don't have to get points, but you have to stay on the field and give your defense a chance to rest.
Jeff Quinn, in his 4th season as the head coach, a former offensive coordinator at Cincinnati under Brian Kelly, so some of the similar principles offensively, and they'll take a deep shot as Licata throws it wide of John Dunmore.
And this is a really good call. We know that Ohio State has 2 corners that have not started yet. They've run 3 or 4 short routes, the outs, the hitches, and then let's take a shot at these guys. And the receiver was there. Licata just has to drop it on the field and give his receiver a chance to make the play, but a really nice call.
They had the most success in that first drive, hooking up Licata with Newts, and Alex is to the top of the screen. They will keep it on the ground and run it to the right. Oliver out across the 25, and he's close to that marker, following Jake Silas, the junior out of Portland, Michigan, at right tackle.
Bo Oliver's 5'8". At times, he's hard to find when he gets behind his blockers. Good blocking there, offensive lineman downfield. It's hard to find Bo Oliver because he's 5'8". He gets in there, makes a little cut, and again, gets a first down, and that's important. You got to move the chains. Get your defense a chance to rest.
10-yard gain for Oliver, who could have a record-setting season of his own. He's got a shot at becoming their career rushing leader. Slipped and stumbled at about the 29. A pickup of one. Ryan Shazier, the first guy on the scene defensively. How about Bo Oliver, the fifth-year senior out of Miami? That compact, physical runner. You were impressed with his size and his strength when you saw him down on the field earlier.
I was. I've only seen him on tape up until today. Went down to the field just to take a look at Bo Oliver, and he is stout. This kid is put together, and you can see early on in this game, when he gets hit by the first guy, the pile always moves forward, and that's because he's low to the ground, he has a lot of strength, and he cuts very well when he sees a hole.
Nice tackle there by Curtis Grant, the middle linebacker. He will come off here on 3rd and 9. With an extra defensive back, the draw to Oliver and nowhere to go. Runs right into Shazier.
We talked about Ryan Shazier before the game. He's the playmaker on this defense. He's the only starter from last year in that front seven. And I really like watching Ryan Shazier play. Every time we have Ohio State, Ryan Shazier shows up, and he does it right there, makes a big 3rd down stop to get the defense off the field.
Well, the first punt from Tyler Grassman only went 19 yards. By the way, the long snapper is his cousin Corbin from the Columbus suburbs. They're back home. And a low end-over-end kick will take a hop to Brown. Nice move to get rid of the first would-be tackler and taken down around the 39. That's a 38-yard punt, 7 yards on the return. First possession for the Buckeyes was a touchdown. Braxton Miller back to work when we return.
Are much improved. Urban Meyer told me yesterday he plans on a 50-50 split in terms of running and passing with the offense. A more complete Braxton Miller should take this offense to even greater heights. We saw it on that last pass.
Here's the freshman that everybody's been talking about, Dontre Wilson, breaking it, and the shoestring tackle at the 45-yard line to save the touchdown for the Bulls, and the first touch for the 5'10 freshman out of DeSoto, Texas.
They've been raving about this kid's speed, his playmaking ability. Knew we'd see him early in the game. Almost hit a home run early.
Miller keeps it. Picked up maybe one. They used Wilson as the disguise there, but they love this guy's speed, whatever you want to call it, Joey, whether it's SEC speed or electric speed of Dontre Wilson. He's one to watch.
From the moment he stepped on campus and took the practice field, everyone has talked about his speed.
Jordan Hall comes back on, offset with Miller, and 4 receivers. Hireman, the tight end, steps out into the slot with Fields. Miller has all day to look around. The 3-man rush has stepped back, and the pass caught inside the 20-yard line by Chris Fields.
And that's a different Braxton Miller already. Stands in the pocket. Last year, he'd have tucked that ball and took off running. This is terrific protection, only rushing 3 guys. Braxton Miller stays in the pocket, reads the entire field, makes a completion downfield.
The receiver screen. And the stiff arm inside the 10-yard line for Evan Spencer. So they follow up the 25-yard gain down inside the 10.
Evan Spencer's one of those receivers that has come in, had a terrific camp, good spring, and now he's a starting receiver, whereas last year he was a backup.
On the move, Miller to the end zone, touchdown! Chris Fields, 7 yards on the strike, and what a start for Ohio State. 2 possessions, 2 scores. Really sold that with the dive to Hall up the middle. And Miller kept it and fired. The direct snap again to Guyton. Now it's Jordan Hall, and another 2-point conversion for the Buckeyes.
You think Coach Meyer's feeling pretty good? I mean, what do you think? 2 touchdowns, going for 2 times. He's feeling good today.
Well, if you're looking for style points, you're getting them here in the first quarter from Ohio State and Braxton Miller with 2 2-point conversions. 16 love. Chris Fields on the receiving end. It's 2 touchdown passes already for Braxton Miller and a 16-0 Ohio State lead.
Here's Khalil Mack, the big play linebacker for Buffalo. Goes inside, takes the fake, opens up the edge, lets Braxton Miller roll out. Nice, easy touchdown. If they have a chance today, their ends, their linebackers have got to locate the ball and not get fooled.
Braxton Miller 5 for 5. Their first 2 possessions, he's already thrown for over 100 yards. As Drew Basil kicks it away, Devin Campbell back in the end zone, and hesitation, and now he'll bring it out, and he will not get back to the 15-yard line. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. Gary Anderson, of course, part of the Urban Meyer coaching tree, along with Illinois' Tim Beckman. So a couple of former proteges he will be seeing in the Big Ten regular season this year. A lot of folks wondering if that Wisconsin game might be the first big, true test on the Ohio State schedule, and what appears they will be the favorites to win them all up to the Michigan game at the end of the year as Licata throws it into the carpet. Good coverage that time by the Buckeyes.
Good coverage and a nice call by defensive coordinator Luke Fickell. Early in this game, the corners played soft. They gave up the shorter passes. Buffalo took advantage of that. This time, leave the corners up, take it away. And you can see it fooled Licata in the Buffalo offense.
As we saw quite a bit of last year, Joey, they opt for 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers. Shazier is out there with Curtis Grant. Defensively, one of the most talked about Buckeyes locally is Licata taken down in the backfield by Noah Spence. And a position that used to be called the Leo, but they've renamed it the Viper.
Absolutely, and if you're this Ohio State defense, you've got to try to get your best 11 guys on the field as much as possible. Sometimes that's an extra defensive back. As you can see there, Noah Spence, Adolphus Washington, they've played well early. They've collapsed the pocket, and this time make a stop and set up a 3rd and very long.
3rd and 14 working out of the pistol. Buckeyes go to what they call their dollar package. They've only got 1 backer out there, Shazier, and the rush coming at Licata, who fires deep downfield, incomplete. Out at the 50, intended for Alex Newts. And this could be trouble for Buffalo. They send their punter Tyler Grassman out deep in their own territory.
Ohio State has started both drives on the 40-yard line so far. That is devastating for Buffalo. When you talk to Coach Quinn this week, the #1 thing he said is we can't put our defense in bad field position. They've done it 2 times already today, and here comes the 3rd.
10 years in a row, the Buckeyes have returned a kick or a punt for a touchdown, and this one will not get anywhere near Brown. It does take a nice Buffalo bounce across midfield, but we've got a penalty flag back down on the goal line.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker. Defense number 6, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
And that is not the running into the kicker. That's the roughing penalty, which is automatic 1st down.
When these guys rushing the punter get close, their eyes get big, they get greedy, and they think, I can get there. That's a good call. He goes right underneath. Punter lands on top of him, goes down. It's the right call, but you understand when a guy sees the punter holding that ball and he's rushing and he realizes I'm not blocked, I have a shot, I'm going to lay out and give it a shot. We're up 16-0. It's early. I'm going to give it a shot.
Well, that is not something that Urban Meyer wanted to see. He's talked all week about having a clean game, penalty-free, better tackling than they showed early last year. But now another chance here. Licata to Newts, breaks a tackle. Speaking of a missed opportunity for the Buckeye defense, and Newts gets the 1st down.
I expect Newts to have the ball in his hands today. He's their big play receiver, 1,000-yard guy, and he's big. And you can see he can break tackles. When you get Newts out in the open field, defensively, you've got to wrap him up and bring him down because he's a big, strong guy that will run through tackles.
That's his 3rd catch of the day already. Scored 11 touchdowns for Buffalo last year, the second most receiving TDs in school history. Licata with Spence bearing down on him, gets the pass away, and a first down for Buffalo to the tight end Mason Schreck, the redshirt freshman from Ohio, at a gain of 12.
And that's important to get the ball to these other receivers. Newt's 1,000-yard receiver, the next closest guy is like 200 yards. And you can't survive on offense that way because defensive coordinators will find a way to take away your number one guy and make you beat them with your secondary receivers.
Here comes the corner blitz, picked up by Buffalo, but it may have been tipped at the line, intended for Schreck.
Licata looked confused on that play. They brought the blitz from the corner, from the short side of the field. Ball has got to come out. Licata's looking left. It appears he should have been looking for the tight end to get the ball out of his hands. Got there late, rushed himself. Guy was open. He just got to hit him.
There's Joey Bosa, who was out there as well at defensive tackle. The freshman, the true freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They expect big things from him. He'll actually step out to the edge here. And the give right up the middle, and Shazier and Grant were right there waiting as Bennett brought the pressure. And Bosa 97 also had a hand in it.
This is the second straight drive that Buffalo has gotten to a 3rd and long situation. To be successful, they can't do this because there's just not a lot of plays you can call. You got a quarterback that hasn't started nothing but 5 games, and you put him in these 3rd and longs versus a fast defense on the road in front of this kind of crowd. These are tough plays to make.
Newts wide right. Licata looking that way. Pressure from Shazier up the middle and thrown into no man's land as the Buckeyes brought some heat from their all Big Ten performer, the junior out of Plantation, Florida, who had 5 sacks a year ago.
And you can see the athleticism of Shazier to change the direction, makes Licata get rid of the ball before he would like to. But again, they're setting up these 3rd and longs. Those are tough calls to make. You don't know how long your defensive line will be able to hold up, burst the pressure from Ohio State. And again, they're off the field. Offensively, they've got to get something going soon.
Brown back deep again, a 19-yard punt and a 38-yard punt. The last one, Grassman got roughed. Brown bobbles and then falls on it at the 16-yard line. Well, Saturday Night Football on ABC, and it's a doozy to start out the year. In prime time, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's 5th-ranked Georgia, and Aaron Murray taking on 8th-ranked Clemson and Taj Boyd, a couple of other guys along with Braxton Miller in the Heisman hunt, chasing Johnny Manziel. There's a look at the AP Top 10 with Ohio State coming in number 2 behind Alabama.
Don't you just love seeing an early matchup, Clemson, Georgia? You want to write them a thank you note. Thank you for setting up a 5-8 matchup this early. Everyone will be glued to the TV. 2 great quarterbacks.
Jordan Hall is in a tailback behind Braxton Miller. 2 possessions, 2 scores for the Buckeyes. Off the play action, Miller trying to get away from Mack. Flag down, Miller back into the end zone. Throws it out of bounds, and I think they're going to get the Buckeye front line for holding, and that time Mack may have gotten the better of Muir.
This could get interesting because I don't know that Braxton Miller left the pocket. I don't know if he got wide enough to leave the pocket. He went back. This could be interesting here because he threw it from the end zone. If this is a penalty, it could be a safety.
And there was not, it did not appear to be a receiver in the area where the ball landed.
There's no foul for intentional grounding as he was outside the pocket. Holding, offense, number 74. Half the distance penalty. Replay first down.
Let's take another look.
They say he was outside the pocket here. Let's see. Braxton Miller, he moves around. We know he goes back. Let's see if he leaves the pocket. Boy, is that close.
Ooh, that's a tape measure job right there.
That's a close one. Big break for Ohio State, not getting a safety.
Your pocket was a little bit bigger than theirs. A loss of 8 on the play for the Buckeyes. Miller under duress gets it away to Hall, who stumbles at the 10-yard line.
Tell you what, Braxton looks more comfortable in the pocket. Now, that wasn't for a big gain, but they brought the blitz. There's a guy bearing down on Braxton. A lot of, including me, I would rather see him tuck that ball and take off running. He's that kind of athlete. Sometimes when guys talk about passing the ball, they tuck away their athleticism just to throw a pass. In that situation, I tuck that and run it.
Well, he certainly got the experience. This is 23rd career start. He's got a 16-6 record. Hall behind Miller. They'll run a little option left. The pitch to Jordan Hall, and weaving his way out to the 19-yard line, and a gain of 9.
If there's a defender or past the line of scrimmage, that guy's job is to take care of the quarterback, Braxton Miller. He did a nice job there. Make Braxton pitch it. If you're Buffalo, you want the ball out of Braxton Miller's hands right there. Nice play by Mack. Make him get rid of it, and then let's see if you can tackle the running back.
This time Khalil Mack is set up to the left, just at the edge of your screen. There you go. Miller keeps him occupied with Hall the other way and throws down the middle, and the catch right near the first down marker, and it looks like it's good enough. Out to the 27-yard line to Corey Brown. Jake Stockman had the coverage and a gain of 8.
Defensive coordinator Lou Tepper said to be successful, they have to make Braxton Miller throw the ball. And they've done that so far, but you might want to put a little pressure on him because right now that's too much time in the pocket.
Miller going to keep it, and Motor. Braxton Miller, the stutter step out of bounds, and a big comeback block from the receiver, Corey Brown, to try and help out his quarterback.
This is the athleticism from Braxton Miller that we talked about. Get back in the pocket, see the pressure coming, have the ability to get out and make a first down. That's what he does every single day.
Jake Stockman did not see it coming, and Brown got him right in the chest. A solid block by the senior from Upper Darby, PA.
That is a dream situation for a wide receiver, to have a chance to peel back on a defender chasing the quarterback, not looking, and put your shoulder into his chest. It has to be the shoulder this year, Beth.
Yep.
No more using the helmet. That'll cost you.
Stockman is the junior from Joliet, Illinois, getting some attention from the medical staff, and we'll take a break. Bean and Stockman rotating back and forth at one of those inside linebacker positions, and Brown with a terrific block to help spring Braxton Miller for a few more yards on that last play before the timeout.
And what appeared to be a legal block. You know, the targeting, the helmet has been a huge discussion, and that goes for the offense also, but that block appeared to be legal.
Brown in the slot left with Spencer. And the give is to Hall. Nice cut back and out across the 45 to the 46-yard line, following Andrew Norwell and Corey Lindsley, a couple of guys up front that were somewhat limited with injuries throughout the preseason, but good to go for the opener today.
Jordan Hall's another shorter running back. Hard to see if you're a defender. When he gets behind this huge offensive line, it's hard to see him. Makes one cut, finds a hole, and gets 6 yards.
He's just 5'8", a $187, who in high school was in the same backfield as Terrell Pryor. He'll get another carry, and he's across midfield, and a first down, Ohio State. Well, one of the things the Buckeyes were counting on, the experience up front of Muir, Norwell, Lindsley, and Hall. The 4 returners started every game last year, and now the new guy, Taylor Decker, coming in at right tackle, 6'7", 315.
You got 4 seniors on this offensive line for an offense that wants to have the ability to run the ball and throw the ball. These guys are extremely good up front, and they're extremely good together. Jackson Uhort, the left tackle, is the leader of this group, but there's 3 more seniors and the young guy that they're bringing along.
Miller, play action to the outside, and the diving catch, no, incomplete. Intended for Corey Brown. Courtney Lester had the coverage.
Beth, again, it's a soft coverage. We call that a post corner as a route. Nice try by Corey Brown. Doesn't hold on to it, but the route is there and it's open because of the soft coverage played by these corners from Buffalo.
And that's the first one that Miller did not connect with his receiver on. 7 of 8, including a couple of touchdowns. The first one, a 47-yard bomb to Devin Smith. Hall, wide open and nobody down the middle of the field, and he will take it all the way. Jordan Hall, 49 yards. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, Ohio State.
We talked about that offensive line. That's when they're doing their job. Jordan Hall up the middle, untouched for the long run. Unless you get guys in the middle clogging up that offensive line, it's going to be wide open all day for these running backs.
That was the 10th best rushing team in the country last year at 242 yards per game, off to a terrific start. And now after a couple of conversions, that maybe they're going to kick the extra here.
And the crowd's unhappy. The crowd is unhappy with kicking the extra point.
Successful 2-point conversions on their first 2 touchdowns. And they'll give Basil an opportunity. They did not call on Drew an awful lot last year for field goals. He only had 11 tries, but he was busy with PATs. And once Jordan Hall got the go-ahead from the O-line, there was nothing in front of him.
I mean, look at that blocking. We just talked about those guys, how talented those 4 seniors are up front, wide open. Jordan Hall could have went backwards. The hole was so big.
Terrific pancake block there by Andrew Norwell and Corey Lindsley. And well, their captain up front, Jack Muir, one of their leaders. He had a great line I was reading during preseason camp. He said, complacency is a monster, and that is something that we are going to have to try and slay every time we go out to practice, every game we play. And in a lot of instances, they'll be competing against themselves to constantly get better and not read all the press clippings.
Absolutely, and you talk to Coach Meyer, and that's one of the things he said, keep all the noise outside of the building. They worked on their leadership. They worked on making sure these guys are focused on Buffalo and Buffalo only, and you can see that early on in this first quarter, 23-0. They seem very focused to me.
Basil boots it away. Devin Campbell from the 4. And Campbell stuck at the 19-yard line. Hit made by Devin Bogard. Let's send it to Paul Carcaterra.
Carlos Hyde was the leading rusher for the Buckeyes a season ago, and he's currently serving a 3-game suspension. But don't expect the running back position to be handed to him when he returns. Urban Meyer said this week, Jordan Hall is the best running back on our team right now, and so he'll have to lose that spot. There's certainly a lot of depth, Joey, as you know, for the Scarlet and Gray at the running back position.
Clark, when I've looked at these running backs from Ohio State, I've thought that this is the deepest group maybe in the country at running back. They 2 guys suspended, Jordan Hall, Briante Dunn, a young guy, Ezekiel Elliott, who we will see today, Dontre Wilson, we've already seen his big playability. They're extremely deep at running back.
Timeout called by Buffalo as
Buffalo.
Play clock was running down. Well, since Paul mentioned Carlos Hyde and Rod Smith out, Smith for this game, Hyde for a couple of more. And on the defensive side, Bradley Roby, their All-America candidate at cornerback, missing a game. All those for off-the-field incidents during the off-season. Roby expected back next week for game 2. And the Buckeyes hoping that C.J. Barnett will come back as well. But there are a lot of adjustments that have had to be made, and a credit to the coaching staff really for getting them prepared to go today. Absolutely. You see Carlos Hyde and Rod Smith, 2 running backs gone. That's number 1 and number 2 on your depth chart, and you still have a 1,000-yard running back behind them in Jordan Hall. Brian Shazier dropping back into coverage, tipped that pass from Licata. With 30 seconds to go in this first quarter, Joey, the Buckeyes have already run up 216 yards of offense to just 59 for Buffalo. And a team with some high expectations of their own this year as the catch is made by Jimmy Gordon. Early on, Buffalo did a really nice job on first down. They took the short throws that set up a 2nd and short,
3rd and short. Luke Fickell, Ohio State's defense, made an adjustment. Take that play away. Now it's Buffalo's turn, Coach Quinn's turn, to make the counter adjustment. See what we can do to find that success that we had early on 1st down. They haven't done it yet. Again, we set up a situation where it's 3rd and long. These are tough situations if you're Buffalo and Joe Licata.
First quarter comes to a close, and a hot start for Ohio State, and quarterback Braxton Miller ran it so well a year ago, and now proving that he can throw it too. A couple of TD passes. The Buckeyes in control. The crowd here, recently inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, out there at midfield with his wife Melanie. 16 years in the NFL. When he left in the mid-'80s, he was tops all time in catches, yardage, and touchdown receptions. We'll be hearing from Chris a little bit later on in the half as we start this second quarter. And the punting unit will have to head back out for Buffalo after the 3rd down play. They are now 1 of 6 on 3rd down. And Philly Brown standing at his own 30-yard line, with Grassman taking the high snap. And there's his best kick of the day. Chasing Brown back inside the 20, and he muffs it out of bounds at the 17-yard line. 53 yards on that punt. Well, Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week continues coming up later tonight, 5:30 Eastern. A.J. McCarron and the 2-time defending national champs, #1 Alabama, taking on Virginia Tech. And then at 9 o'clock, TCU and LSU, college football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels. Of course, they're also available on your Watch ESPN app. Sounds like around 9 o'clock. You're going to have to be prepared to get a few TVs going tonight, this opening Saturday of the season. #1 Bama coming up later. We've got #2 Ohio State right here at the Horseshoe. And Texas A&M about to kick off over on ESPN. Johnny Manziel won't be able to play until the second half of that one. And Miller sacked back at the 12-yard line.
And if Buffalo has a chance to get back into this game, they have got to do something to make Braxton Miller uncomfortable. That's Mack, the linebacker, the big play guy. He's the guy that everyone looks at on this Buffalo defense. Their power rush gets around and gets to Braxton Miller, brings him down.
Also 5, Lou Tepper, the defensive coordinator and former head coach at Illinois. Actually, when he was with the Fighting Illini, had a couple of wins here in Columbus back in the early 90s. In his second season as their defensive coordinator. Miller, good push again for Mack, and crossing around underneath. The catch is made by Devin Smith. Derek Brim on the tackle, and that will set up a 3rd and 5.
And that's Khalil Mack going against the only new starter on the Ohio State offensive line, in Taylor Decker. Got around, got to Braxton Miller, got a sack the play before. That time goes bull rush straight through Decker and gets close to Braxton. If they have a chance, they've got to get there, get home on this 3rd down and try to get off the field and get their offense good field position.
4 receivers out there on 3rd down. Hall offset. Miller has the time, and the 1st down catch is made. And out to the 40 is Corey Brown. Pickup of 18 yards.
And Lou Tepper and this Buffalo defense drop into a softer coverage, no pressure on Braxton Miller, allow him to stand in the pocket and survey the field. They have not been successful doing that in coverage. They've got to find a way to get home and get there and get him out of the pocket.
Jordan Hall stays in at tailback. Look at Miller so far, 9 for 10, 143 yards. Play action. And overthrows Devin Smith, who was open at the 40.
There's one he'd like to have back. He's had a terrific day, 9 of 10. Those throws you have got to complete. Wide open across the field, just lets it sail a little bit, gets it over his head. That's a play that he will make in the future, but that one he would love to have back now.
They've talked so much about his confidence and how much more comfortable he is this year in year 2 in this system. And That, of course, is coming off of a season where he was the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. On second down, the give to Hall. Nice change of direction. The spin keeps his balance. Out across the 45. That'll bring up a 3rd and 4. Adam Redden had the tackle.
It's nice blocking by that right side. We just talked about Decker allowing Mack to get to Braxton Miller. That time the run play off the right side, and Decker gets a really nice block, collapses down the end, and leaves it wide open for Jordan Hall.
We've seen primarily Hall at tailback. We saw Dontre Wilson for a couple of plays. Miller checks down. Hireman, the tight end, with the catch at the 47. That's going to be a yard shy.
And this sets up a 4th and 1. If I'm Ohio State and I'm Urban Meyer, the way I felt early, going for 2 early on, taking the shots, I go for this on 4th and 1.
And they go up tempo before Buffalo could get set, except for one key guy, Nick Gilbo, coming right up the middle, and a big stick. And the stop for the Bulls defense.
Huge stop for Buffalo. This is the first time that their offense will get the ball on the plus 50 side of the field. Now they got to find a way to turn this into points, get some momentum on your side, but that is a huge push up the middle. Nice stop. We talked about the offensive line for Ohio State. That time the defense stood up, stopped the 4th and 1, and got off the field.
Gilbo, the former walk-on, the sophomore out of Port Henry, New York, stayed low and stung Jordan Hall. And now Licata with Bo Oliver in the backfield. They really haven't been able to muster much with Oliver, and the catch made by Lee out at the 40, but a flag in the backfield.
Personal foul, shot block. Offense number 32, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
Referee Sean Smith today with the call. Look at that lower left of the screen right there, and that's Oliver getting under Bosa. So the Bulls take a positive play, and it becomes a negative. Really, after that first drive, Joey, they have been unable to get back on track and moving in the right direction.
And they haven't had success on first down, and that's what's hurt them.
Licata will go to his tight end, the quick hitter to Mason Schreck. Bottled up by Tyvis Powell. We've seen them in this nickel package quite a bit today. And tremendous depth in the secondary, even with the Roby suspension. And C.J. Barnett not playing today with an ankle injury.
And Buffalo has yet to prove that Licata can go downfield and get big chunks of yardage. They're going to have to do that sooner or later, or they're going to keep punting the ball.
Licata gets it off and tipped out of bounds, incomplete. The coverage for Duran Grant, the junior out of Akron, who replaces Travis Howard at one of those cornerback spots.
The receiver has got to stick his hands out. If he puts his hands out and plucks that ball out of the air, that's his ball. Fred Lee, we talked about, was a second leading receiver on this Buffalo offense last season. Not even close to Newts and the numbers he's put up. And you can see in these situations, put your hands out, snatch that ball, and that'd be a huge gain.
Now on 3rd and 20, their longest play of the day thus far has been 12 yards. Licata's pass is picked off through the hands of his intended receiver, and sophomore safety Ron Tanner was waiting for it.
You just talked about this young secondary. They're missing Barnett. Roby suspended. This young secondary has played pretty well today. Tip away the play before, and then this one getting an interception. Tanner's one of those young guys, hadn't played much. First time on the field, gets an interception early in the season. That'll help his confidence.
Licata frustrated as that went right through the hands of Devin Campbell, and Tanner was right there.
And again, you look at the starting position, 40-yard line. For this explosive Ohio State offense, you cannot give Braxton Miller, the playmakers for Ohio State, the ball on the 40-yard line and expect to be successful.
Dontre Wilson is back into the game, slot and on the move, and he will take the handoff, and Wilson squirms out of a tackler and the ball is loose. And the much ballyhooed freshman with the turnover, and Buffalo's got it.
You get that with a young guy. You take a young guy out of high school and he takes the next step up. Now in high school, if he'd have made that same move, no one would have been there and it'd have been a big play. Now he's at the next level. You got to realize and make the adjustment. You're not always faster than the defenders. Those guys are long armed, they're swarming, and you've got to get used to holding on to the football, realizing that there are more guys around you, and he coughed it up. That happens with young playmakers.
Blake Bean, the junior out of Wichita, Kansas, is the guy that knocked it loose. His father played here at Ohio State, and now back in Ohio Stadium, he comes up with the turnover.
Second straight possession, Buffalo gets the ball in really good field position. Last time, turned it over. Let's see what they do this time.
From the Buckeye 44, they quickly get it into the hands of Alex Newts, and that one came out at the end as Newts was trying to reach for the first down. And that ball should be spotted where Newts stepped out of bounds, not where the ball went out of bounds. Armani Reeves was there defensively.
That is a big play for this Buffalo offense. Again, we talked about the success that they had early on first down. They got back to it, gain 8 yards, set up a second and 3.
Their best offense thus far, Joey, has been a whole lot of Alex Newts. 4 catches for the 5th-year senior out of Grand Island, New York. He's wide right. They're looking his way again, and he's got it. First down yardage. Shoved out of bounds by Reeves, and apparently too far out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
There goes the short throw again. That was where they found their success early on. Now they're getting back to it. Get the ball outside the Newts. He's your playmaker. Put it in his hands early and see if he can break a tackle.
At the end of the play, personal foul, defense number 26, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Reeves in his first start. He's the guy in the lineup today with Bradley Roby's suspension. Good drive initially, but then that extra shove into the cooler with the head linesman right there, not going to help.
When he extended his arms, he didn't do much, but the extension of the arms, it catches the attention of the official. Newts falls down, they got to call it.
Newts this time will come to the left side with Dunmore in the slot. Licata with the fake and dumps it off to his tight end inside the 5. Touchdown Buffalo. Mason Schreck, 16 yards. The Bulls take advantage of the turnover and the penalty, and a good decision by Licata.
That's a broken coverage. And you get that with young guys. We talked about all the guys playing for the first time today, all the new guys. You cross the field, and sometimes you get a broken coverage. You have linebackers. C. Grant hadn't played a lot. You got your secondary, 3 guys missing, 3 new guys. You get broken coverage when that happens early in the season.
Extra point is good. Joe Licata to Matt Weiser for 6. And Buffalo with its first touchdown of the season. It all started with the forced fumble as Blake Bean knocked it out of the hands of the freshman Dontre Wilson. And then the touchdown, the tight end, Matt Weiser, streaking into the end zone.
To the first quarter, what was that like for you?
It's pretty amazing. There's so many things that have happened along the way and then being inducted to the Hall, but this ranks way up there. You know, they don't put people out there in the middle of the block O in the horseshoe for just any type of thing. So tremendous honor coming back here. Tremendous honor me just being a Buckeye and the great tradition we have here at Ohio State, continuing on with Urban Meyers.
What are your impressions year 2 with Urban Meyer at the helm?
Got a lot more speed on offense. Defense is a little young, but very, very active. And Braxton Miller is light years better than he was or where he is throwing the ball as a quarterback last year.
I know you met with the team yesterday and you had a chance to speak to the young wide receivers. What'd you tell those guys?
Well, it's about making big plays around here. They're going to eventually stop the running game, but Ohio State need the wide receivers to start being difference makers. We've always had different makers at the wide receiver position, especially when Joey was here. We had some really phenomenal receivers then, him and little Terry Glenn. Not too bad, but we have a great tradition here, and it's time to get back to that. And those guys got to start making plays. If they're going to be an elite football team in college football, they're skilled guys. They have to be elite.
Speaking of greatest receivers, we saw the highlights on the Jumbotron. You're certainly one of them. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Paul and Chris Carter. Joey, part of that wide receiver tradition here at Ohio State. And the handoff to Jordan Hall. Good push that time by the front for UB, and a loss of one. Lee Skinner, the first guy on the scene. There's a list of the Buckeyes in the Hall of Fame. And they'll add another one next year when one of your former teammates here, Orlando Pace, the offensive lineman, will go into Canton. Play action this time. Miller going to keep it. Skinner giving chase, and he dumps it off to Hireman. Gets taken down at about the 43-yard line. That'll bring up a third and a couple. A gain of 8. Derek Brim took him down low.
Chris Carter just mentioned how much better Braxton Miller looks throwing the ball. This play right here stays relaxed. We know he can make a play with his feet. This time just keeps the play alive and delivers a nice soft pass.
Miller to the air again, and a first down. The catch by Evan Spencer. Miller now 12 for 14. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. Thank you very much, Wendy. Will Rice starting out on Texas A&M without Johnny Manziel. Miller avoids the sack, now on the run, and will take it out of bounds. Back inside Buckeye territory at his own 47, a loss of 3. Mack was bringing the pressure.
Again, we talked about Mack early on. He's their playmaker on defense. In this situation, he has got to make that tackle, but he puts pressure on Braxton Miller, gets him out of the pocket, and does not allow him to deliver pass. This sets up a second and long. They've been comfortable on offense. They've moved the ball. They haven't been in too many bad situations. This could be the first time in a while that Braxton Miller and his offense is set up in a situation where they have to make a play down the field.
Dontre Wilson is back out there. Number 1 in red goes slot left. He fumbled on their last possession and intercepted. Khalil Mack picks off the pass from Miller. Wilson giving chase. Mack diving for the end zone. Touchdown!
I called Mack a playmaker, but that was impressive. Not only did he catch the ball, but the speed. Those are skill guys chasing him. That's Braxton Miller chasing him. I mean, how athletic to not only catch it, but then showing the speed. I mean, this is a 250-pound guy diving in the air, holding it with one hand. I bet there's not a lot of offensive guys that can do that. We're talking about a 250-pound linebacker catching the ball, having the ability and the speed to not only get to the end zone, get in the air, hold it with one hand as his body's going out of bounds and gets it across the goal line. That is an outstanding play.
And outrunning Dontre Wilson, who's got 4.3 40 speed. As the Buckeyes were trying to get Wilson the ball, a little tunnel screen, and Mack was right there. And now Buffalo will show what looks like a 2-point conversion. Licata puts it up for grabs, incomplete. And a flag down on Christian Bryant in the end zone.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. Half the distance penalty. Replay the try.
Matt Weiser is 6'5", Christian Bryant 5'10". Throw it up high, allow him to go up and get the ball. Christian Bryant in a situation where he has to interfere because he can't jump with the 6'5" Weiser.
Well, what a turnaround here. 23-0 to start for Ohio State, and now Buffalo. 2 turnovers leading to 2 touchdowns, and a big stop defensively on a 4th down play as the defense has turned this thing around for the Bulls. Another crack at 2, Licata, and that pass batted down. They stopped the 2-point try, but the defense coming through for Buffalo. It's 23-13, and the Bulls hanging around. And for UB, the pick 6, return of the Mac. He's letting all the people know that he's back to run the show. Dealing with linebackers, Butkus candidate Khalil Mack, and he might be the front runner right now.
And we talked about the Mewhort-Mack matchup. Mack wins this one. Incredible athletic ability. Mewhort tries to cut, gets his hands on his back, stays on his feet, catches the ball, and then shows tremendous speed. He's 250. Sometimes you can't tell how fast the guy is unless you look at the guys that are chasing him. And those are pretty good fast athletes, and Dontre Wilson and Braxton Miller chasing a 250-pound Mac and couldn't get a hold of him, and he gets it in the end zone.
Horizontal in the air as well, Joey, and he has the right frame of mind to make sure he reaches the ball inside the pylon into the end zone. And here is Dontre Wilson looking to make amends. And Dontre Wilson with a burst across midfield. The spin inside the 40. And a big return for the Buckeyes. And now a little pushing and shoving as the Buffalo Bulls have fought back from a 23-0 deficit. They've scored 13 unanswered as Wilson brings it back 52 yards.
Wilson again flashes playmaking ability, flashes the speed, has the ability to see a hole and hit the hole and get through it. Then gets in the crowd, takes care of the ball. Had the mistake last series, takes care of the ball this time, goes down, huge gain, and a big start for the Ohio State offense. You know, they're only up 10 now. They were just up 23-0, now only up 10. They need to get the offense going again, and this is a good situation with the ball on the plus side of 50 at the 38-yard line.
Jordan Hall is the tailback. Brown and Fields come to the near side, and the give is to Hall, and right up the middle again, and Jordan Hall headed to the end zone. His second touchdown run of the day, 37 yards.
Nice read by Braxton Miller. I mean, that is the replay. The end is unblocked. Ride Jordan Hall with the ball. Make the end make a decision. He made the wrong choice. Wide open touchdown for Jordan Hall.
Basil tags on the extra point. Well, the celebration for Buffalo short-lived. A nice return to get things going. And we see just how dangerous Dontre Wilson can be. Over 50 yards on the return. And that will set up Braxton Miller, the give to Jordan Hall. And what a day for Jordan, getting the start, and he's got 2 long touchdown runs. Without the suspended Bradley Roby and C.J. Barnett, one of their other senior leaders, not playing today. There he is, actually number 4, right behind Luke Fickell, out with an ankle injury. As the Buckeyes defense gets set to come back out onto the field, Campbell with the return, and a flag is down behind him as Campbell hits the deck at about the 15-yard line. So extraordinary things going on with the Buckeye defense as they get set to head back out onto the field.
During the return, illegal block in the back, receiving team, number 20, half distance penalty, first down.
For more on Shazier, here's Paul Carcaterra.
Beth, Buckeye star linebacker Ryan Shazier was getting worked on moments ago. He was cramping in the training staff, brought him in to be further evaluated. It is really hot on this turf, probably 10, 15 degrees more than outside of the stadium. Doug Callen, the head athletic trainer, told me these guys are hydrated. They've been monitoring the weather all week, but it's hard to match game speed.
Thank you very much, Paul. Well, to start the day, it was 6 of the front 7 were new to the lineup. Now it is 7 of the front 7 new to the lineup, and it is true freshman Trey Johnson out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, that will replace Shazier out there at linebacker. As Licata and company go to work, Bo Oliver stuffed by Michael Bennett, the junior out of Centerville, Ohio. Luke Fickle talked to us about this too yesterday, Joey, about the depth, especially on a hot day, and how important it's going to be.
They lose Tommy Shutt early in the week. He was backing up both defensive tackles. Now Ryan Shazier, their leader on defense, their main playmaker. You talked about the new guys, and Shazier was the guy that everyone looked at, everyone counted on to make plays here today. Now he's gone. We'll see if the young guys can step up.
Oliver tripped up again. Bennett, one of the first guys there. So number 2, Christian Bryant, their safety, is the only guy that's been out there with experience leading into today. Barnett was one of their most vocal leaders, the 5th-year senior from Dayton, who is a 3-year starter. He went down with the ankle injury a couple of days ago, Shutt with the broken foot. He could be out for half the season.
Losing Barnett is not as important as losing Shazier. Barnett's backed up by Corey Brown, the Pittsburgh Corey Brown, who has played a lot of games. So Barnett being out, he'll only be gone for 1 week. Tommy Shutt being gone for 6 to 8 weeks is a much bigger deal because he takes away the depth of the defensive line.
Third down here for the Bulls, and there is the Pittsburgh Corey Brown. The wide receiver is their Philly Corey Brown. Matt Weiser, let's see where the spot is. They had to get out to almost the 18-yard line.
And I think they're about a yard short. And they have to punt. This isn't even a decision by Coach Quinn. They have to punt this ball. They're in a situation now where they need to get a defensive stop. It was 23-0. They got 13 unanswered, battled back, made it 23-13. Ohio State gets a big return, big touchdown. It's 30-13. If Buffalo wants to have a chance, they have to get a stop here.
Fair catch for Corey Brown at his own 40-yard line. A 43-yard punt as Grassman has settled down as the punting unit gives way to the Ohio State offense. That one, Joey, in South Carolina.
I'm going to wait till right before kickoff to get my feeling. Early on, I'm thinking Clemson in that game. I like Taj Boyd. I like his playmaking ability. I like his playmakers on the outside. But I'm going to wait till kickoff, see how I feel.
All right, well, Braxton Miller and the offense back out there. As Paul Carcaterra reported earlier, the plan this year is for Miller to be throwing a little bit more and running a little bit less after he was taking care of about 65% of the offense for Ohio State last year, and in a couple of games he got knocked around pretty good. In fact, got knocked out of the Purdue game, so his health of the utmost importance. 4 rushes, 15 passes today for Braxton Miller.
And I think the most important part of his passing game today is he stood in the pocket and he's looked comfortable. He hasn't gotten happy feet. There hasn't been a ton of pressure, but when they brought pressure, he's extended plays, he got out of the pocket and still delivered the ball downfield, whereas a year ago, he would tuck that ball earlier and make a play with his feet, whereas today he's standing in the pocket and delivering the ball to his receivers.
He had over 150 yards on opening day last year, just 7 rushing yards necessary so far today. And here he is with plenty of time, the offensive line helping him out, and his receiver, Evan Spencer, did not. Interesting
defense by defensive coordinator Lou Tepper. We talked about Khalil Mack being their playmaker. He's usually a rush guy. He's been the guy that's been able to get pressure on Braxton Miller. This time he drops back in coverage. And that's him, first one to the receiver, first one to try to make a play on the ball down the field. That's not where he's comfortable. I would look more to see him try to get to the quarterback. He's their athletic guy. He's their rush guy. He's their rush end who can get home. Not many other guys on this defense can get to the quarterback.
On 3rd and 12, and Mack right in the face of Braxton Miller as he hauled right around the new guy on the offensive line, Taylor Decker.
Lou Tepper heard me. I just said you would like to send
Did he
Mack.
text you?
Yeah, exactly. He heard me. He's watching the telecast, and here comes Mack. Again, matched up against Decker. He has owned Decker when he's tried to get to the quarterback today, when he's been a rush in on Decker's side. In the run game, not so much, but pass game, Mack has shown his athletic ability in getting around Decker and getting after Braxton Miller.
A tackle for loss, an interception return for a touchdown for Mack. And then Alex Newts back deep. Cameron Johnston going to punt for the first time in his career. The freshman, 21-year-old from Australia, and almost had that one blocked. And a high punt, and Newts with the fair catch at his own 27-yard line. A 40-yard punt, the debut for Cameron Johnston. How about Mack so far?
Coming in, everyone wanted to see what would Mack do against this offense from Ohio State, and he has been outstanding. Athleticism right here, gets the interception, and again, 250 pounds. He's running away from a guy that runs a 4.3 40, and again here gets to Braxton Miller. Not many people have been able to capture Braxton Miller in the backfield before he gets loose, but Mack has done that. He's made plays all over the field today.
USA Today had him listed along with Ryan Shazier on their All-America first team heading into the year. And as the Buckeye defense heads back out there, they are still without Shazier, who was carted off the field earlier in this second quarter. As Brandon Oliver follows Jake Silas off the edge. And Khalil Mack trying to catch his breath. He didn't get a chance to play in their Georgia game last year, which would have been their highest profile game. So this his moment in the spotlight, trying to make the most of it. They think they got a pretty good shot of going 2-2 in their non-conference games. They're at Baylor next. And then if they can split their MAC schedule, they will be headed to a bowl game for just the second time in school history. And using all of his 6'5" frame to reel that in is Mason Schreck. This is a program that just went D1 back in 1999. And the 2008 MAC championship and bowl trip, their only winning season thus far. But they think this is perhaps the best team that they've had in Jeff Quinn's 4th season. And on 3rd and 1. The give is to Oliver, and a nice cutback, and he's got the first down out across the 40. And a good second effort following Dylan Guy. Pickup of 5. Well, Todd McShay is back in the studio, and I know, Todd, you've got some thoughts on Khalil Mack and what his future might be like. Well, and Todd, of course, the MAC had the overall #1 pick in the draft this year with offensive lineman Eric Fisher. What do you watch for in a game like this where Buffalo is playing against Ohio State and matching up with the #2 team in the country? Oh, technical difficulty there. We apparently lost Todd, but Nonetheless, it's been a decent first half for Khalil Mack with the interception and tackle for loss. He has a chance to set an NCAA record for tackles for loss as well as forced fumbles if he has a big season. But now it's Licata in the offense, 3rd and 10 with 1:18 to go in the half. Licata with Bosa in his face, up for grabs. And through the hands of the Ohio State DB Armani Reeves.
And again, Licata in the Buffalo offense getting to a 3rd and long situation, hadn't had much success, gets driven out of the pocket, has to throw one up. That's a ball that should be intercepted. Armani Reeves' first start today, he'll make that play as he gets more experience. But again, Licata pressured in the backfield, goes to the ground.
That was Joey Bosa, the true freshman, the 7th-ranked defensive tackle coming out of high school last year. And now Corey Brown, a little stutter step across the 25 out to the 28-yard line. Under a minute to go in the half. Here's Wendy.
Texas A&M's down 14-7.
Okay. Thank you, Wendy. Well, not only the highlight for Khalil Mack, but also for Braxton Oliver here in this first half with a couple of touchdown throws. Jordan Hall, 2 long touchdown runs. For a Buckeye offense that averaged 37 points per game, they've already got 30 here in the first half. And they'll run their 1-minute drill. It's been a much quicker tempo at times. The shovel pass to Jordan Hall. First down, Buckeyes. Adam Redden on the tackle. Jordan Hall on the day, 126 yards rushing in the first half. That's a new career high for him as the ball is down. Incomplete. That was intended for Hall. 2nd and 10. 41 seconds to go in the half.
Good pressure brought by Buffalo. They realized that, you know, Braxton Miller is trying to run the ball now. It's a pass. When that ball hits the ground, it is a pass, so it's an incomplete pass, not a fumble. But good pressure brought by Buffalo. Get the ball out of Braxton Miller's hands.
Both showed the 3-man rush. Mack is on the right side of that line. They help out with the block of Hall, and Miller will run the other way, and the pass, diving grab made by Devin Brown. May have knocked the wind out of himself trying to hang on to the ball, but it's going to come back, and a penalty in the backfield. Full extension from Brown, but negated. A holding penalty against the Buckeyes. And Brown tended to by the training staff.
When you hit the ground like that as a receiver, sometimes it knocks the wind out of you, and that appears that's what happened. It feels awful for 10 seconds, and then you get better once you stand up and you get your air back.
Miller stepping up, keeping all the way, and Miller weaving his way through traffic, sliding out at the 39-yard line. And that will take care of the first half of play. Good news for the Buckeyes, a 30-13 lead, but some questions about the health of Ryan Shazier and Corey Brown in that first half of play. All-America candidate Khalil Mack had a pick 6 for Buffalo as they were able to hang around for a while on this opening Saturday of the season. Down to Paul Carcaterra with Urban Meyer.
Coach.
10 or 15 degrees, even hotter than that down on the field for the players. There's a look at Khalil Mack. He'll have a chance to get out there and face Braxton Miller once again. The Buckeyes won the toss and elected to defer, so they will get the ball here to start the second half. All 13 points for the Bulls coming off of turnovers, including Mack with a pick 6. Andre Wilson is back deep to receive and pushes him all the way into the end zone. That's actually Jordan Hall, number 7. How about Braxton Miller and the job he's done thus far?
When you talk to these coaches, they said they want to see him improve in the passing game, goes deep early, completes the big touchdown, gets his confidence going in the right direction, and then again gets outside the pocket, extends the play, and delivers another strike for another touchdown. He's looked pretty good so far today. And then Khalil Mack, the linebacker for Buffalo. How versatile has this kid been? He's been in coverage, he's rushed the passer, he's gotten sacks, and then maybe made the play of the day here with an interception, and then getting to the end zone, going in the air with the athletic ability to get the ball extended into the end zone.
The senior out of Fort Pierce, Florida, he may be a first or second rounder and a high pick in the NFL draft next spring. Miller will tuck it into the belly of Hall, and he's wrapped up right away by Bo Bechtel in that defensive front for the Bulls. The numbers from that first half: Miller 13 of 18. Jordan Hall, a career high 126 yards rushing. Mack, the 45-yard interception return, also had a couple of sacks.
And Beth, if you missed that play, watch SportsCenter. It's an impressive play, maybe a top 10. Who knows?
I think we can put it in the top 10. I'd vote for it right now. Braxton Miller looking for maybe a highlight reel kind of play here in the second half. Devin Smith with the catch. Najee Johnson with the coverage. That's the third catch for Smith.
Big third down early here for both sides. You want to come out in the second half and set the tone in the first drive, whether you're on offense or defense. This is the first third down, 3rd and 5. Ohio State has had some success here. Huge for Buffalo if they can get off the field.
Defensive coordinator Lou Tepper urging his Bulls for a stop right here. Hall is offset, 3 receivers to the left. Miller, and from the backside, stripped loose. Buckeyes able to get back on it. Nick Gilbo, who had that big 4th down play in the first half, got in behind Braxton.
Nice play drawn up by Lou Tepper. Sends Khalil Mack down inside. He goes down on the guard, Marcus Hall, and then sends another guy around Decker. Decker has had problems in the pass protection early, couldn't hold Mack out. This time, used Mack as a decoy, and they get to Braxton Miller and make him put the ball on the ground.
The other 4 offensive linemen, all returning starters and veterans. Decker is the new guy, and Buffalo has been successful at times trying to pick on him. The second punt of the day for Johnston, and that takes a Buckeye bounce inside the 40-yard line, and that's where the Bulls will take over. 43 yards on the punt. Well, just a couple of races left before we start the chase for the Cup. Jimmy Johnson looking to maintain his lead down in Atlanta, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, Sunday at 7 on ESPN, also on the Watch ESPN app. Joseph?
And the Ford guys have qualified well for that race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the pole, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, Jimmy Johnson. He's just been Jimmy Johnson. That's all you can say. He's been Jimmy Johnson this year.
He's the Alabama of NASCAR lately. I think it's what Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon, right, are the 2 guys right now on the edge trying to get into the chase with a couple of races left. Joe Licata and Bo Oliver trying to go back to work for Buffalo. And this is Oliver trying to find some space up the middle. The stop made by Joel Hale. Let's check in right now with Paul Carcaterra.
Well, I caught up with Jeff Quinn right at the half, and I asked him what he needs to do offensively to really get going. He said stick to the bread and butter, give Brandon Oliver the ball up the middle like that last play and kind of stretch the defense from there. Defensively, though, they're having trouble, he said, matching the speed and tempo of Ohio State. He called Braxton Miller just a special playmaker.
Offensively, this has been their best offense so far, and that's get it to Alex Newts. And he finds some room down the sideline. That's his 6th reception. And just an update defensively, too, Joey. Ryan Shazier is not out there on the field for the Buckeyes defensively.
And Buffalo's done a nice job when Ohio State plays these soft coverage. When those corners are soft, they've hit that short pass and been able to turn it into a first down. Newts, the big play receiver, strong, tough guy, hard to bring down. Every time he's touched it, he's gotten extra yards after the catch.
Licata off the play action and the pump fake. Underthrows Newts, who makes the adjustment to come back and get it at the 20-yard line. And Licata throws his arms up.
He's wondering why Newts didn't stay on his feet here. I mean, this is the play. Finally get downfield there. And I think Newts, as a receiver, when that ball is in the air and you're looking back to your quarterback and it feels like it's taking a long time to get to you, you start to feel the pressure of other guys coming. In that situation, he didn't realize the defender had fallen down.
Oliver trying to get to the edge and burrows his way inside the 20. So to update you on the defense, we talked about Tommy Shutt injured during the week. C.J. Barnett injured late in the week. He has not played today. And what apparently was an injury or some sort of setback for Ryan Shazier carted off the field in the second quarter.
And in this second half, that's when your depth will become an issue. It's hot out here today. We've seen Shazier go off with cramps. As these guys get tired, as these guys get hot, depth may play an issue in this game. As you can see, Buffalo offensively, they found a way to move the ball. We talked earlier about the success on first down is the key to each drive, each series for Buffalo. And this drive alone, on first down, they've gotten 5 yards. They've gotten 10 yards, and they've been successful. Now they're inside the 10. Let's see if they can finish it off.
First and goal for the Bulls. Oliver taken down by Hale at the 10. May have lost a yard. Good penetration from Michael Bennett.
Really nice penetration from Michael Bennett. He doesn't get the tackle, but he made the play. His push up the middle made Bo Oliver cut the ball back before he wanted to, made him stay inside, and then Joe Hale can make that tackle. But without Michael Bennett getting that push, disrupting the play, then Joe Hale doesn't get that tackle.
Urban Myers told us yesterday he's probably the most improved player on the defensive side of the ball for them coming out of preseason camp. And Joshua Perry down on one knee.
Joshua Perry, another kid, he's a new starter here today. We talked about the heat. Ryan Shazier already off in cramps. Think about this linebacking core. Last year they moved the fullback Bourne from offense to defense in the middle of the week. Not a game plan, but Coach Meyer walks out on the field and moves him over to linebacker. That's how thin they were at linebacker. So you come into this game, you have one guy in your front seven who has started before, and now he's gone. And then you look in your secondary, C.J. Barnett out of the game with an ankle injury. You look on the other side, Roby suspended. You talk about depth, Tommy Shutt out of there. These guys in this heat today, the depth will play a part as more and more guys get tired, you get dehydrated. I don't know who's going to play if these guys keep coming out. Depth is an issue.
They are running out of upperclassmen on the field. There's Luke Fickle trying to dial up the right defense. Licata looking to the end zone. Newts got it. Touchdown, Buffalo. If it ain't broke, Joey, and Licata to Newts is definitely working today.
Newts is 6'3". Armani Reeves, the corner, is 5'10". That is a matchup that they have got to exploit. Newts is terrific when the ball is in the air of making a play, and you could see it right there. Just give him a chance. Licata, put it in his area, and Newts can make that catch.
8 catches, 90 yards, and the touchdown. The extra point is good. And just like they did last year down at Georgia, hanging around for a while, they're doing the same here today. It's down to a 10-point game. Alex Newts, the fifth-year senior from the Buffalo area, hauls it in for 6. Five, 48 yards through the air as the inexperienced Buckeye defense trying to figure some things out on what was the best drive of the day for that Buffalo offense. And flags flying from everywhere on the return by Jordan Hall out across the 15.
During the return, holding receiving team number 12, half the distance penalty, first down.
Well, he's got 7 career 100-yard games, Joey, and he's working on an 8th today.
If I'm Coach Quinn, if I'm Joe Licata, the quarterback, I find a way to get the ball in Newt's hands. He's 6'3", 205. He's a big target, plays the ball well, snatches it with his hands. He's tough to get around. He's your big play guy. He's been successful, got yards after the catch every time the ball has been in his hands. For the rest of this second half, any chance I get the ball into his hands.
And the Buckeyes know it's coming to them, but so far they haven't been able to stop it. He has been option number 1, and now Braxton Miller and the Buckeye offense back out there. Stuck it in Hall's belly and then took it back, and Miller gets it out to the 13. Pickup of 5, and Ryan Shazier is out of the locker room and on the stationary bike on the sideline. He's been out since about midway through that second quarter.
When a guy goes out that early with cramps, usually they go in the locker room, get an IV, and it doesn't take as long to feel better and get ready to play.
Hall out to the 20. Khalil Mack had the tackle. That'll be good enough for the first down. What's that entail, Joey, when you go back there? Have you had that done before and instantly feel better?
You know what? I've played in Dallas. I've played in Tampa, some of the hottest places to play. I would go in at halftime, get an IV of fluids, 2 bags, and it would make me feel instantly better, and it would help me get back on the field quickly, and I'm sure Shazier did the same thing.
Boy, an initial nice change of direction by Miller, but then it looked like he was taken down by a cramp as he holds his leg. Rubbing that calf muscle and grabbing the toe, and Kenny Guyton starting to loosen up on the sideline. Buckeye fans, as much as they love Miller, they've got the utmost of confidence of Kenny Guyton coming in, if need be.
I talked about their depth at running back, but quarterback, they may feel more comfortable than anyone else. Kenny Guyton, he's played, he's one of your captains, he's a leader, he knows this offense inside and out. Braxton Miller goes down, and you don't get terribly worried. Tom Herman, look, send in Kenny Guyton. I know this kid can play. I've seen him do it before. We had the pleasure of being here last year, see Kenny Guyton make some plays in a very tight situation. So you know he's a gamer. You know, they won't lose much with Kenny Guyton coming to this game.
Save that Purdue game that they ultimately won in overtime last year. He's been awfully good at driving them down to the end zone. Now in his 16th career game here, the 5th-year senior out of Houston coming on for Miller. And Guyton with the give to Hall as he continues to add to his career-high day. Well, let's take you back to Purdue. In the waning minute of play, had to go the distance without a timeout. The touchdown to Chris Fields, and then they needed 2 to tie it. Then he went out the back door to Jeff Hireman into overtime, where the Buckeyes would win it 29-22.
And that's game on the line, late in the season, in an undefeated season here at home. Kenny Guyton comes off the bench late in the 4th quarter and looks like a guy who had played all game long.
Braxton Miller back in at quarterback with 4 receivers. Miller. Here comes Redden, flag down, and Miller down inside the den. The ball pops loose. The Bulls jump on it at the 1. And the officials say it is Buffalo ball, 1st and goal. Mack forced it. I think this might stick because Miller.
Defense, number 46, illegal hands to the face.
Oh boy, that's huge.
15-yard penalty. First down.
That's Khalil Mack. I think the fumble would have stuck. That was the tail end of the play as Miller fell on Mack's body. I think the penalty was before that on the rush.
Again, Mack, as we've seen early in the game, dropped out, went inside. He didn't rush from the outside. He goes inside, attacks the guard.
Got his hand
held on to it a little too long.
Tough break for Buffalo. They would have had a golden opportunity right there. Instead, the penalty keeps the ball with the Buckeyes out at the 37. Miller will keep, and immediately Colby Way bottled him up. And Mack was there to help out.
And there's Colby Way, the defensive end. They talked about him. He's preseason All-MAC. They talked about how much he's improved. They've been surprised with what he's done. Makes a play here, gets to Braxton Miller. If you look at this Buffalo defense, early here in the third quarter, they've looked completely different than they did in the first half. Maybe they got some energy at halftime, but they look like they have more confidence in their scheme right now.
Miller to give to Hall. He breaks a tackle, pops it out across the 45, close to the first down. And Joey, after the pickup of 13, that'll give him a closer look at the sticks.
And this is a play that Ohio State has had success with, pulling Andrew Norwell, the guard, around, running right up in the middle. If Buffalo can't shut down that run up the middle by Jordan Hall, it's going to be a long day on defense. There's a 3rd and short. I'd expect to see it go inside again.
And there it goes, Hall. Looks like he's got enough for the first down. Well, we've made an awful lot about the inexperience defensively for the Buckeyes, and we should mention the experience and how that may be a factor here for the Bulls in the second half. Their defensive unit is all upperclassmen.
And they returned 7 starters from last year, and they're pretty excited about that. You can tell when you talk to defensive coordinator Lou Tepper, he's excited to have those 7 guys back. This is his 2nd season coaching these guys, and he said they were way ahead of where they were last season at this time.
Hall coming out of the backfield, wrapped up by Mack. He fought off the block of the tight end Hireman to make the play.
Mack has proven today to be extremely athletic. He's a strong guy. Out in space is where he's been the most impressive to me. Here's a 250-pound guy fighting off a block out in space and tackling Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall is a small, quick, he cuts well, and Mack gets off the block and makes a tackle. Tremendous play out in the flat.
He's going to have to catch his breath for a play on a day where it's near 90 degrees and even hotter down on the field. Miller on 2nd down, fakes the handoff, scoots to the outside, gets a nice block upfield, and steps out of bounds for the first down. Buckeye fans wanted a late hit, but no flag. And Miller goes down, cramping again.
It's interesting to me, usually when you have cramp situations in football games, it's the away team that cramps up because they come into a situation where they're not quite used to the type of heat that they're dealing with on that day. Today we're seeing Ohio State is the team with cramps, but they're the home team. They've been dealing with this heat. Strange to me, Buffalo is dealing with the heat much better from a cramp situation than Ohio State.
In fact, Urban Meyer mentioned that to us yesterday, the fact that they keep an eye on the weather and how it's been hotter here in Columbus than it has been in Buffalo, where obviously you're right there on the lake, actually a couple of lakes in Niagara Falls. And he thought, well, if anything, maybe we would have a bit of an advantage on a hot day like today.
That's typically how it goes.
Yep.
Typically, the visiting team has not dealt with the kind of heat. It's not quite as hot in Buffalo as it is here in Columbus, Ohio, but Buffalo, you hadn't seen their players dealing with these cramp situations as much as you've seen it on the Ohio State sideline.
Well, you know this is a big day for these Buffalo Bills. This is their one opportunity, their big moment in the national spotlight, a crack at what would be the biggest win in school history. Certainly riding an awful lot of emotion coming in and now trying to sustain it in what is a 10-point game here with approaching 5 minutes to go in the third, and Guyton at quarterback. And the handoff up the middle for a short game to Hall.
And that's the play that Buffalo has to stop. If they intend to stop this Ohio State offense today, they must stop the inside run. That's been there all day. There's been huge runs. We've seen Jordan Hall go for touchdowns up the middle. If they want to win, they got to stop that inside run.
Hall now over 150 yards on the day. He's got touchdown runs of 49 yards and 37 yards. And Guyton keeps and close to another first down near the 25.
And that's a nice read by Kenny Guyton. We talked about his experience. We talked about how many drives he's been in on and how many of those have gone for touchdowns. Not much fall off when you go to Kenny Guyton. Pulls the ball and knows when to get down, gets it to a 3rd and short.
And now Warren Ball is on at tailback. The redshirt freshman from Columbus making his debut. He gets the handoff and finds a little space. Quick hit up the middle. That'll move the chains as Miller gets hydrated over on that sideline.
And there's not a lot you can do on the sideline. When you get cramped up, you can drink all the drinks you want. It doesn't help you as quickly as an IV does. You know, so it's something that you will have to deal with. He will sit there for a while, he'll drink some drinks, and then you will feel like, okay, I can go back. And we saw that earlier. He sat out one play, went back in the game, and then came back out. And that happens once a guy starts to cramp and he doesn't have a chance to get IV fluids.
Shazier, who reportedly was out with cramps in the first half. Joey's got his helmet back in his hand. That's always an indicator for you. Maybe Ryan trying to get back out there. Usually if you can't return to the game, they take your helmet away. Guyton, play action. Kenny, wide open, touchdown, Buckeyes. 21 yards to Chris Fields. That's his 2nd TD of the day.
It is absolutely rare in football to have one of your leaders that is not a starter. They have that situation here with Kenny Guyton. Braxton Miller goes down. No one gets terribly worried because of Kenny Guyton, because of the player he is. Calmly, very calmly comes into the game, marches down the field, throws a strike for a touchdown. And
this is a 14-point swing because remember, on the turnover that was nullified by the personal foul penalty, Buffalo had the ball at the Buckeye 1-yard line without that penalty, and instead, Ohio State takes it 91 yards in 14 plays, and now Kenny Guyton, 16 career drives as quarterback, 9 of them have resulted with a touchdown. Chris Fields, his 2nd TD reception of the day. Guyton on in relief of Miller, and they open up the 37.
Taking a look and counting those up, 18.
18, yeah, 18. I think he won a couple amateur titles as well that some people tend to count.
18 or 20.
They're not really major.
Somewhere between 18 and 20.
Nonetheless, he's awfully doggone good. The kickoff to the Buffalo Bulls, and Devin Campbell now to the 24-yard line. 17-point Buckeye lead. Number 2 Ohio State and the Bulls.
Header on the tackle for Ohio State.
to cheer about for Ohio State in the opener. They're up 37-20. 3:12 to go in the third quarter, and more good news for the Buckeyes. Ryan Shazier is back out on the field after cramping up in the second quarter, making his first appearance back out there alongside Curtis Grant. Cameron Williams is also out there at linebacker. And a flag on the pass to Shrek.
Offside, defense, number 63, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
Shazier tops in the Big Ten last year in tackles for loss. He had 115 tackles to lead the Buckeyes and the most solo tackles last year for an Ohio State defender in 10 years. On his way to all Big Ten honors. And certainly get a lot of preseason pub as the top defender in the league this year. Oliver. The Buckeye defense has done a solid job keeping him under wraps for the most part. Christian Bryant coming up from the secondary. 18 carries for 49 yards for Bo Oliver.
And that was the question early on. How was this defensive line? You know, he had young guys. Noah Spence, Adolphus Washington, played 15 to 20 plays a game last year. This year, they'll be playing 60 snaps a game. How will they handle that? And they've done pretty good so far today.
Good job that time by Oliver. Should have been taken down in the backfield and gets the first down instead. 2 years ago set a UB record with 1,395 yards. That was 14th best in the country. And then battled through injuries all of last year. And about 600 yards now shy of James Starks, who went on to the NFL. He is their career rushing leader. Licata looking deep for Dunsmore, and right there on the coverage was Duran Grant. Curtis Grant was putting some pressure on the quarterback.
It is strange to me to see Buffalo go away from Newts. Newts had man-to-man coverage on the other side of the field, same situation. Licata chose to go to the wide side. Not sure if that's a coaching call. But to me, Newts is the guy that I throw the ball up to and let him use his size and playmaking ability to catch the ball.
Newts is wide right, and there they are. The hotline from Joey Galloway down to the sideline, and Newts with his 9th catch of the day. Here's Wendy Nix. Well, on the third down play here, Wendy, they go to Oliver, a second effort to get close to the marker. Shazier and Joel Hale got into the backfield. And Joey Bosa was in the neighborhood.
Give Oliver credit. Not much over there. 3 guys, including Shazier. We talked earlier about Oliver's ability to stay low to the ground. He's a downhill runner, and it looked like he was going to lose 2, but he gains 1.5 and almost gets a first down.
They had a chance to go for a 4th down in that first half. Remember, they had the delay of game penalty. And that took away their chance. And now another decision right here, 4th and that much. With a minute to go in the third, you're on the road at number 2 Ohio State. Is there any doubt in your mind, Joey?
No, none whatsoever. This isn't even a decision. You're down 17, 1 minute to go. You need to get this first down. You got to get a lot of points on the board, not to mention slow down this Ohio State offense, which you've not been able to do for most part today. So you've got to get this first down if you want to give yourself a chance.
4th and 1. Licata out at wide receiver to the boundary side. They show Wildcat with Oliver set to receive the snap. Direct to Oliver, right up the middle, and the push, and he's got it into Buckeye territory behind Carlson, Davis, Sales, Guy, and Silas.
And that's what they call their frog package. They put Oliver in the backfield, takes the direct snap, and again, we talked about his push. Not only is he pushing the offensive lineman. He's pushing the defensive lineman. Everyone's moving forward because Oliver is so strong and so low. You always talk about low man wins in football. Well, you don't get much lower than Bo Oliver. He gets low and makes the entire pile, the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman, move forward for a big first down.
And Oliver lost his helmet at the end of the play, so he has to go to the sideline. They choose not to use a timeout here, which is a new rule. They could have kept him in the game. Instead, it's Anthony Taylor as Licata gets sacked. Noah Spence with the takedown. And one of the Buckeyes lost a helmet as well. I think that's Curtis Grant. Who continued in the play without his helmet on.
Defense, number 14.
And that's it.
Participating in the play after losing his helmet. Penalty is 15 yards, automatic, first down.
Once that helmet comes off, you are supposed to step aside. And Grant stayed in pursuit of the play, 14 in red.
Luke Fickell talked about Grant's passion, talked about his energy. He said when you're in practice and you say get somewhere, Grant's the first guy there. Those kind of guys, when they're they don't have a stop button. They can't just call it off without hearing the whistle. They're going to go full steam ahead, helmet or not.
Newts is to the near side, one-on-one with Reeves, and Licata goes the other way. Campbell upended by Grant to the 32-yard line. They'll mark it actually at the 33. We thought they might try and get Devin Campbell a few more touches. That's one of the few that he's had today. And that'll take care of the third quarter. You know, the Buckeyes are up 17, but the Bulls are on the move. As we head to the fourth quarter, the opening Saturday of this college football season, Joe Licata to Alex Newts has been awfully strong. And then a relief effort from Kenny Guyton for the Buckeyes. And juggling and making the catch is Mason Schreck. His fourth catch of the day. And that'll set him up 3rd and 1. 9 plays, 45 yards on this drive.
Tight ends have to do that dirty work. A lot of times it's the short pass over the middle. That's why they're 6'5", 230. To go in there, go in the middle, catch the ball, and take the big lick from the linebackers.
Newts goes wide left. 4-man rush for the Buckeyes, and drilling forward to get the first down yardage is Brandon Oliver.
The best medicine all day long for Buffalo, Joe Licata, Coach Quinn, and this offense is positive yards on first down. When they get 5 to 6 yards on first down, their success rate is through the roof. Their problem becomes when they don't find that success on first down, they can't recover from it very well. But when they've gotten to the 3rd and shorts, they've done pretty good.
Campbell the lone setback as Licata goes under center. Newts wide right. The play action, and they'll throw back to Campbell on the wheel right, and he's got it inside the 10, the 5. And he stepped out of bounds at the 3-yard line as he got by Ryan Shazier. 26 yards on the pickup. All eyes were the other side of the field on Newts.
A lot of times when you leave those linebackers matched up with a running back in coverage, throw the ball downfield, it is tough for a linebacker to flip his hips and go track down that ball in the air.
The fullback to the left of the quarterback, and Oliver will follow him off the left side. Grant got down and got a foot and tugged him out of there and hung on as Bryant came on to help.
This is an area of the field when you have those big receivers outside, when you have guys like Newts. They talked about Fred Lee in the red zone. You know, these corners are 5'10", these safeties are 5'10". This is an area where you may want to throw a jump ball and let your athlete try to out-athlete the corners from Ohio State.
Newts near side, isolated with Armani Reeves. Got a lot of room to work with, and that's where they go. To Newts in the corner, incomplete.
Got to keep it on the field. keep the ball on the field of play and give Newts a chance to use his athletic ability. When you watch film of Newts, he does this time and time again with his size, good hands, just keep it on the field. That's a little tug there. As a receiver, I would be complaining. I would go straight to the official and say, look, he held my arm. Can you please do your job so I can do mine?
In those exact words?
In those exact words.
Keeping it clean, talking to the officials. 3rd and goal coming up for Buffalo on the other side. Some of the sights to see over at the Columbus Zoo and here at Ohio Stadium. 12:49 to go. Buffalo threatening. Ohio State up 37-20. 3rd down and goal for the Bulls. Newts wide right. Oliver goes slot left. And now in motion. He gets the call. And held out of the end zone by that Buckeye defense. First guy there was Shazier. And now it's 4th and goal.
If I'm Buffalo, I run the ball again with Oliver. I like what he does. He's low to the ground. We talked about his strength. Give it to him again and see if he can get you 1 yard to the end zone.
They stretch the field again with 4 receivers. Licata fumbles the snap and down he goes. And the Buckeye defense with the stop inside the 5.
And it looked like they were running off the right side of that line. We talked about their veterans to the right side. Carlson, Davis, center Sales. All started every game last year. Looks like they were going to the right side to get in the end zone. Unfortunately, put it on the ground and really, really takes the wind out of their sails to not get points on the board in that situation after coming so close.
Braxton Miller is back out there at quarterback for Ohio State. They'll start at their own 2. Miller has a couple of touchdown throws today, and he has been fighting cramps here in this second half. Jordan Hall into the heart of the defense. Bo Bachtel with the stop. Both Miller and Shazier have needed some attention due to cramping. 15 for 20 through the air, 178 yards. He has not run as much as he did a year ago.
Which makes it even more interesting that he's cramping up in this game. Only ran the ball 4 times in the first half, and here we see him dealing with cramps in the second half. It is very strange to see for a guy like Braxton who's played in this kind of heat for so long.
In an upper 80s, close to 90-degree kind of day. Here he is on a design run. The spin at the 4. Wrapped up by Lucchesi Alozzi.
And you can tell by the way Braxton is moving. He looks like a guy who's not real sure if his legs are going to hold up. That happens when you have cramps. You come off, you start to feel a little better, say I can go back in, but it's almost like mentally you know that the wrong move, if you take off running the wrong way, it's going to cause you to cramp up again, and you start to play with that in your mind.
They had 30 points at halftime. Their lone score of the second half was from Kenny Guyton to Chris Fields, a 21-yard touchdown pass. Miller out of the end zone, and he'll take it. And Braxton Miller, plenty of room up the middle and cuts it out to the right side. Miller looking for a block, and he steps out at the 45-yard line. An improvisational 40-yard run for Braxton.
And that's the Braxton Miller we're used to seeing. Get back in the pocket, look downfield, tuck it, take off. Because of his playmaking ability, because of those plays right there, he has the ability to get out of trouble. Buffalo sent pressure. You got to keep your eye on an athlete like Braxton Miller who can tuck and reel off a 45-yard run as easily as he can. gets into your secondary, and can make people miss.
Braxton now 57 yards rushing to go along with Jordan Hall's 154 today, a new career high for him. Play action to Hall, and Miller with plenty of time going deep down the middle, and pass interference flags will fly on Johnson, trying to keep Devin Smith away from it.
Pass interference. Defense, number 22. 15-yard penalty results in automatic first down.
And Devin Smith is a speedster. We've seen him score early in this game on a deep ball. That's a ball that you'd like to get out, throw it down the field a little further, let him use his speed. But when you get a corner in that situation as a receiver, it is your job to make sure that he interferes with you. He can't see the ball, so you make sure that he has to play through your body to get to the football.
Because it's not interference without contact, so you might have to force it. And Miller taken down by Colby Way. He chose not to give it to Dontre Wilson, number 1 in red, who's back out there, the freshman. He's had a couple of moments where he got the crowd fired up, but he also had a fumble today in his first appearance for the Buckeyes. The freshman out of DeSoto, Texas, one of those transfusion of playmakers that the Buckeyes have brought in with this talented freshman class. We have not seen his mate Ezekiel Elliott yet today, and now here he is in the backfield. Another true freshman. Miller on the fly route. Brown couldn't haul it in. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. Thank you, Wendy. Well, Manziel back in action. Braxton Miller, another one of those Heisman contenders this year at quarterback here for Ohio State, and he'll run with it again. And Miller to the outside, switches hands as he steps out of bounds, and another good gainer for Braxton Miller and a first down. Picks up 16 on that carry.
And that's a nice block downfield by Nick Van Nett, the tight end. Again, Braxton Miller gets into the pocket. We saw in the first half when he was in the pocket, he would deliver a lot of these balls, and that's why he had 18 passes and 4 rushes. Here in the second half, you've noticed he's tucked it a little quicker and been more willing to take off and make a play with his feet.
You see the difference there, first half to second half, 8 rushes, 44 yards. Wilson is joining Miller in the backfield. And this time Wilson will get it, looking for some space inside the 25. Swallowed up there by Dalton Barksdale. Well, you can definitely see, though, what Lou Tepper and this defensive coaching staff have talked about with the confidence that this group brings back. So many starters returning. A little bit of momentum from their late season run at the end of last year. They won 3 of their last 4, and they really think that they've got a chance to contend in the MAC. We've seen some really good things from them today at times. Elliott, nowhere to go up the middle.
Another one of the freshman running backs. You hear a lot about Ezekiel Elliott. Saw him in practice. Very smooth athlete. Nice looking running back. Seems to cut with ease. Puts his foot in the ground, can change directions. He's another guy that they're very excited about. We've seen Dontre Wilson. We've seen his speed. We've seen his big playability. Now we get a chance to take a look at Ezekiel Elliott in this game, which, again, we talked about the depth at running back. He's one of those guys that give him that depth.
He's got 4.4 speed out of St. Louis. 11th best running back in the country coming out of high school. Miller dancing around, buying some time, looking for Elliott. Couldn't haul it in at the 10-yard line.
Catchable ball, but you're asking a lot from a running back. If that's a receiver, you say you have to catch this ball. running backs, downfield, traffic, it's catchable. It's high, but it's catchable. But again, that's a running back, and you don't expect those guys to make many great plays catching the ball down the field.
Drew Basil only attempted 11 field goals last year. He was 8 for 11, including the 4 kicks he had in the Michigan win. And he's on for his first attempt of the season, a 39-yarder with Guyton's hold. And Basil's got it. The Buckeyes double up Buffalo, 7:05 to go. Joey, certainly a very good chance, and when you listen to talk radio and read the papers here in Columbus, most of the fans think that 12-0 is definitely a very good possibility.
Absolutely, and they will be favored in every single game they play. When you look at their schedule, we just showed Purdue going down, to Cincinnati. They actually need teams on their schedule to win games so they get more credit when they play those teams and they're favored.
Campbell on the return, under 6 to go. Let's check in with Paul Carcaterra.
Well, Beth, many have questioned Ohio State's defensive line coming into the season. Buckeyes have no returning starters from that unit, but there's a lot of young talent there, spearheaded by Adolphus Washington and Noah Spence, 2 sophomores and former blue-chip recruits. Defensive coordinator Luke Fickell recently said they've got incredible talent and they're really going to make us run our defense the way that we want to. The game's won up front, and he's got some studs there.
They are really high on those guys up front. Thank you, Paul. Highly recruited. Coming into Ohio State, sat behind that terrific defensive line from a year ago, as Alex Zordich is now on at quarterback and gets the handoff to Oliver out across the 20. I think the biggest day possibly for Ohio State might be September 14th, and you talked about how the rest of the league might have to help them out. Of course, the Buckeyes will be out at Cal, but then Purdue is hosting Notre Dame, and that may be a long shot based on what happened to Purdue today, but UCLA will be at Nebraska. Wisconsin is on the road at Arizona State, and those non-conference games that the league couldn't haul in last year, they're going to have to get some of those this year. Because as you referenced, the Buckeyes will be favored in all of these. This could be a huge year for Northwestern, by the way. They will have both Ohio State and Michigan coming to Chicago.
Exactly. When you go Wisconsin, Northwestern back-to-back, if you look at this schedule up and down, that's a questionable area. Brett Bielema leaves Wisconsin, goes to Arkansas, so no one's quite sure what Wisconsin will be this season. But we do know that Northwestern has some playmakers. They have some guys that can hit home runs. Kane Coulter, Venrick Mark, those are guys you have to keep your eye on. And Northwestern is expected to be a much improved team, starting off at number 22. But if they stay hot and get on a roll, they'll be higher by the time the Buckeyes play them.
They will be out at Cal tonight, by the way, for Buckeye fans that want to get a look at a couple of future opponents.
No gain on the play. Second and 25.
Zordich is the senior out of Youngstown, Ohio. He's more of the dual threat as opposed to Licata, who's your traditional pocket passer. And Anthony Taylor, who was a high school teammate of Braxton Miller's, and Huber Heights gets the call. Out to the 29-yard line. They were teammates at Wayne High School, and Taylor making his debut after he did not play last year with a knee injury. Zordich was the starter through the first 8 games of last season. Got hurt, they went to Licata, and then Joe beat him out for the job this year. He is related, by the way, to the Mike Zordich's, father and son at Penn State. There are the 2 quarterbacks, Licata and Zordich. Alex was 1-7, and then when Joe took over, 3-1.
And it appears that Buffalo, going with the backup quarterback, running the ball in that series, down 20, 5 minutes left to go in the 4th quarter. It appears that Buffalo has said, we're content. We've had enough. We're content. Let's see if we can get out of here healthy.
Yeah, I think staying healthy is the big thing for them now. Is a chance on the return for Ohio State. And a flag flies as Corey Brown gets across midfield.
During the return, a legal block in the back. Receiving team number 15. 10-yard penalty for the spot of the foul. First down.
We'll take a timeout here with 4:08 to go. The Buckeyes on their way to a season opening win. On the Watch ESPN app. 40-20. Buckeyes on top, 4:08 to go, and Miller and Hall still in the ball game. Jordan Hall with a career high this afternoon. That's his 20th carry. He's got over 150 yards. Getting the start with the suspensions to Carlos Hyde and Rod Smith. But as Paul Carcaterra reported earlier, Urban Meyer was saying this week that it was Hall's job and that it will be up to somebody else to try and take it away from him, especially if he continues playing like this. With the 2 long touchdown runs today. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. Thank you, Wendy. Johnny Manziel back in action for A&M. Miller gives it to Hall. Out to the 38-yard line. Let's take a look at the hardest working player, brought to you by Polaris at a career day for Jordan Hall.
Jordan Hall has been outstanding from the beginning. Again, we talked early. He's a 1,000-yard rusher in his career here at Ohio State. First 2 guys gone. Jordan Hall steps right in and does not miss a beat. Has run the ball inside, run the ball outside, and it's proven not only is he the hardest working guy, he's a big play running back.
Touchdowns of 49 and 37 yards today for Hall. His previous high was last year against UAB, 105 yards. Dontre Wilson to the 43. Well, they wanted to work Wilson in today, and they've done that. He was able to work through the first fumble of his career as Hall returns. Guys that Urban Meyer wants to work in more and more as the season progresses. He's talked about the need for speed on both sides of the ball. Miller on the move, and Braxton taken down at the 43-yard line.
Braxton Miller on the carry.
Saturday Night Football comes your way tonight on ABC down in Death Valley. 5th-ranked Georgia, 8th-ranked Clemson. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. All a part of Saturday Night Football presented by Windows as a part of Dick's Sporting Goods kickoff week. Punting unit comes on. Alex Newts back there set to return. That's certainly the showcase game of the opening weekend, a top 10 showdown. Newts with the fair catch. Final minute of play here at Ohio Stadium. Back after this. Speedway. It's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, Sunday at 7 on ESPN, also live on the Watch ESPN app. Fast start for the Buckeye offense today, 40-20, their lead over Buffalo. Final minute of play. And for Urban Meyer, 13-0 now as the head coach here in Columbus. They will start prepping for San Diego State next weekend.
And I think this is a solid start. I think that Coach Meyer, he talked about he wanted to have a clean game, get rid of the mistakes. They made a few today. Those are coaching moments. They made some mistakes, had a turnover or two, still scored 40 points, still won by 20. So he has to feel good about the win, but there's some things to clean up, but a pretty good start.
For Buffalo, they will be at Baylor next weekend. Another opportunity at a big-time BCS AQ opponent. The Buckeyes win it 40-20. Braxton Miller, a couple of throwing touchdowns. Jordan Hall, a couple of rushing touchdowns. And after the undefeated 12-0 season last year, the Buckeyes start out 1-0. The Bulls 0-1. Well, they had to fight through the heat today. There were some cramping issues for both Braxton Miller and Ryan Shazier.
They talked about Braxton Miller's ability to throw the ball, wanted to see that today, wanted to showcase that today, and they did that. He stood in the pocket well today, especially in the first half, and delivered some balls down.